How are you on this beautiful fall day?
It's a beautiful day here. Yeah.
Good. I'm gonna just jump in here and say while I was waiting to get invited in, we had sending love from Canada, big hug from Slovenia, ex-Yugoslavia.
Wow.
Who else? I thought there was somebody else that commented. Nope, that's it. Okay.
How amazing. Isn't that wonderful?
Somebody else just said, love you so much, Dr.
Oh,
Gladys. Yeah.
I love you right back.
So good. Um, so you haven't had your actual birthday yet, but you have celebrating for the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
Good.
You know, you when you've had this many birthdays, it's okay to have a fake birthday party or something like that. And it wasn't fake. It was just a lovely party when it was mostly family, and that was it. So
So
the
good.
day will come and the day will go, and I will be a year older. I'll be 103. How about that?
How about that?
I'm very grateful, and I'm still functional, and that's very good.
Yes, it is.
And it's coming up on Thanksgiving too.
Yes. I just want to say there's somebody hands on Hexham is saying sending love from Curlew Cottage, Hexham, hold on, Northumberland, England.
Whoa.
Vicky is saying lots of love from South Africa.
Whoa.
Dick Mama is saying I'm on chapter 20 of your book. I love her.
Wow.
So lots of people chiming in from all over the world.
You know what's so amazing is that this, with what all the other stuff that's going on, that's so painful that we hear about and read about and all, and yet we're able to connect with each other in this way and understand our human condition the way it is, ups and downs and hills and valleys and all of that. And here we are, all around the world. I'm in tears. All around the world, we're able to find that our true human nature is connecting with other people who really are feeling the same thing, and knowing that that we as human beings are here for a purpose, and that each one of us, wherever we are pivotal to the proper functioning of the universe.
Which I think can be so overwhelming when you're in the middle of something not great, to
Yeah.
think you have an integral role to play, because it's so easy to get, just locked into what's happening on a very coarse level, what's happening in your world that's not going so well.
And when that's happening, it's the hardest thing. Nobody can really take it for you.
Right.
Even sometimes when the person that you always have depended on to help you through hard times is going through their own hard times and they're not available. It's like you feel like you're all alone, and you don't know where to look for what, because you've lost your way.
Right.
And it feels like no one else in the world can understand how bad it is. And yet the other person that is going through this hard times feels the same way. because we're human beings and this is how we do things. So our challenge is not to get stuck in it, or not to try and just get over it. There's the songs that will just get over it or something. um my my insight on that is that just getting over it just shoves it into a drawer, and it's there, it stays there until we take it out. We have to live through it, and as we live through it and we begin to understand that even at the darkest times there is still hope, and it's there. You just can't see it at that time, and it just seems like nobody else understands.
Right.
But we're all human, and most all of us have gone through terrible things in our lives, and and we're here to learn from them.
Mm. I just want to read to you somebody. Hold on, where did it go? Okay. We are weaving a tapestry of light, emanating hope, positivity, love, and kindness. Thinking, speaking, acting, and leading from our hearts with honesty, humility, and discernment, helping to raise the collective. Beautiful.
Absolutely. And just because we're old ladies around the world doesn't mean that we can't do that.
Right.
We old ladies, the world needs us. We're here because we've experienced our hard times. It
Right.
doesn't mean that, that we're done with them, but we know how they feel, and we can let ourselves understand that we just don't give up. My dad taught me that. I'd be playing a game or something, and I'd say, I give up. And my dad would look at me and say, are you a quitter? And I'd say, oh, no, 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 no. Being a quitter was as bad as are you a liar?
Oh, wow.
It was, you just don't just quit because it's hard.
Right.
And so those lessons that I learned from my family, from other people, and I'm honestly, folks, I'm learning this lesson every day in different ways. The hard times come, but one thing that we can all do, I think, if we have a refrigerator, we can go out, we can find or make a little bouquet of flowers and stick it in the refrigerator where and a part of the refrigerator where every time we open it we see that little vase of flowers, so that sometimes in the darkest of all times it's so important to have something that was living and beautiful and helps us to see that there is some light there. Maybe not a big one, but
Right.
some light is still there. And that's hope.
Right. Right. Somebody was saying the responsibility is scary. If we screw up, it costs ourselves, but also others.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when reaching out to others helps us.
Yes.
We've talked about it on this Instagram before, but it's like if I have a flashlight, and it's a pretty good flashlight, and I'm walking down a dark path, it can be very dark, but as I walk along, I see a little glimmer of light, maybe on the right side or maybe on the left side or down in front. And if I put my light on that little light, it enlightens the whole a picture for that little light person. So it's a matter of looking for it. If we're not looking for it, we never see it because it's there and it's going to stick. And so let's keep looking.
Vicky Mulder said, I started looking at life differently because of Auntie Gladys.
Oh,
So,
oh,
so she's your niece, Vicky?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, we're all in it together.
Right. Right. So somebody's saying, so grateful for you and all the wonderful support and love from Denmark.
Oh, oh,
Canada.
oh,
Hello, love from the Bronx. I needed to hear her words today.
oh,
Very, very wise woman. Lots of people chiming in today, which is awesome. Love it.
oh,
Love it. Love it.
yeah. Well, I love you all, you know.
Oh,
The hard times are the hard times. They are there. They can't. They you know.
yeah.
Take a deep breath and you take the next step and the next step and the next step. But you live through it.
You know, I saw something on Instagram this morning that, do you know, have you heard or seen those, oh, what do they call them? Shoot, where all of a sudden people in a public space will start to do a dance, and then people who seemingly are just like bystanders all of a sudden join, and then all of a sudden there'll be like 30 people doing this thing.
Yeah.
And so it was like in New York City, like in the Bronx, and it was just a street and people were walking down the street, and one person gets out and start dancing, and then before you know it, there's like 50 people that are dancing and singing, and all the people that are walking around are taking videos, and it was just so cool. And the thing that the comment underneath on the Instagram was, you know, in this seemingly dark time, because there's just so much going on that is horrific, like you're saying, having a flash mob. Thank you. Somebody just put it on there. It's called a flash mob. So, you know, having just something like that, that's going to bring a smile to all the people that were on the street on that one day in that moment, and they just happened to catch it, you know? And it's just so beautiful. So thinking about, you know, just ways in which we can not do a flash mob, but do something smaller that's going to bring a smile to somebody's face.
Well, and you know, walking in the grocery store or someplace and finding a child that's in his mother's arms who's just looking very happy or something, that can help heal us. It's
Yeah.
I can't do that right now because I can't go to the grocery store. I'm the cat. I guess I could, but it's not a wise thing to do. So, but the idea that that the little people that we see are bringing joy and happiness to us. Sometimes even when they're mad at their mommies and want, wanting a toy and the mother has said no and they're having a conniption fit, that's a uh, thing to watch and see how it goes,
Mm-hmm.
or see what you can do.
And I also think, you know, just choosing, like, sort of choosing that higher path, choosing the
Right.
higher road. And, you know, if you see somebody that's not being very kind, you could do a few things, one of which is to get mad at that person and, you know, call them bad names or whatever, or just realize, wow, they must be really hurting or really having a bad day, and like those are the people we should go over to and hand a flower to, right?
Yes, and especially if it's somebody that you know and there are issues, family issues, racial issues, life issues, ups and down issues with that particular person, our choice is either increasing that issue, or like my mother used to say, to kuch parwani. It's at, at that point, maybe it's not an important issue to for us as individuals to take up. Maybe that's just something that if you leave it alone for a while and it's just not that important, it'll be solved, or or something will happen and something will resolve it, or it's just not supposed to be resolved. It may be something that is a deep issue that you have this lifetime, and it's something that you will live with and through, and in the long run have some understanding of how hope and love and caring reaches maybe not that person, but the next person, but the next person, but maybe that person. You
Mm.
know, it's something that can happen. It could happen. My little
Interesting.
4-year-old, my 4-year, yeah, he was 4, came in and he says to me, "Mama, I know something." And I said, "What's that?" He says, "If I make a friend and he makes a friend and he makes a friend, it's going to go all around the world and come back to me." And, you know,
Wow,
we can listen to the little people too, because they know something.
that's so beautiful. So I have a quick, well, maybe it's not quick, but I have a question for you. Um, so you were just sort of touching on it a little bit, that, if in this lifetime we have a particular, I don't know, issue or pattern or some way that we move through the world, right? That
Yeah.
creates less than desirable, if you will, outcomes. And yet it continues to be a repeating pattern. Like, how would you talk to someone, or, you know, guide or coach someone to really break the pattern that's, and that could be with illness too,
Oh,
right? Because those
oh
things.
boy.
So
Yes.
how would you coach someone to see the pattern, break the pattern, move through the pattern, like, just navigate that?
Well, the first thing to do would be to see if the person really wants help,
Mm.
because sometimes when we try to, if we can see a solution and the other person can't, and we offer our help and the other person denies it, maybe the time isn't right. Maybe our approach just isn't quite. Maybe we need to uh, love a little more, or maybe we could get some humor into it.
Mm.
Maybe there, if you could find something, some little tickle that will will jiggle it open. Like, I think I've said this so many times, but my mother was just a week before she died, and my dad and I were sitting with her on the porch, looking at the garden, and she says to my dad, "Look at that petunia bush. It's got at least 400 bush blossoms on it." And my dad says, "Oh, Bess doesn't have any more than 40." And she looks at him and she says, "What's another zero?" You know, it's the kind of, sometimes finding something that is humorous
Mm.
and not adding to the problem is helpful. Sometimes that doesn't work.
Right.
Sometimes that just makes people more angry.
Right.
and you have to just back off and say thank you and let it go. But you try, you reach with love, not with condemnation.
Mm,
If you're trying to teach something to another person, because you know better than they
right.
know,
Right.
that doesn't work too well,
Right.
really.
Interesting. And I have somebody here that's saying, wonder what Dr. Gladys's daily schedule looks like these days.
Uh,
Are you willing
I
to share
don't.
what your daily schedule is like?
I don't know. Because
Every
look at what happens. I I'm li- listening to people from all around the world. I'm just in such awe of what's happening
mm,
in the world and with us, those of us who are listening to each other as we're talking and working with gratitude today, because Thanksgiving is coming up in the United States. Those of us who understand that we being grateful actually helps the world, and it
mm,
helps each other, whether we know each other and or not, as we add to the gratitude. Our attitude of gratitude improves,
mm,
and we, you know it's if you can dwell in gratitude, that's different from just being uh yeah, okay, or happy, or for the time being. But the whole idea that we as human beings are here at this time, at this moment, and the thing that is happening is that we're talking to each other. I mean, it's awesome, absolutely awesome.
oh, somebody's saying if we all shined our light, maybe there would be peace in the world.
Oh,
Shining our love is some
absolutely.
role. Right.
How could there not be? If all of us shone our light and uh, understood that peace is what we're all looking for, and happiness and joy, and you know just let it be. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Right. Right. And what I was talking about before, when they had the group walking meditation that I did last month or whatever that was, and that they have, I forget what the machine is called, but they have a way to measure the energy within a room,
Yeah.
like the external energy in the room, but they also have a way to measure the energy of the planet. And so what they found, and I don't know the numbers because I don't retain that kind of information, but there was a blip in the energetic stream of the globe when that walking meditation happened, because
Wow.
164,000 people doing it at the same time. And so they did another one in November. I wasn't able to participate, and I don't know the results of that one, if they had more people that participated. But the whole idea being, if we can continue to do things, that whole idea of yes, singularly, if we all have positive attitudes and all that kind of stuff, is great. But if we can also concentrate it and all do it at the same time, like, what an amazing magnification in the quantum field of energetics. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Katie, you're so right. And you started this Instagram, and you've called all of us who are listening to it right now together,
Well,
you know? So we're here to do that, and to not just look for peace and love and hope and so on, but to live it within our lifespan as much as we can.
right. Yeah.
I'm in awe. absolute awe.
It's pretty amazing. It is pretty amazing. I'm so grateful to you for having said yes, that you would do this thing with me, and just kept going. So it's just been so much fun. And going back to the gratitude piece, I know that's the through line of this whole thing, but I also wanted to mention that whole idea of it's easy to have gratitude when everything's going your way. We sort of touched on this, when everything's going your way, or it's obvious what you can be grateful for. And when things are hard, even if the only thing you could say that you're grateful for is that and that's not the only thing, but that you can walk, that you have two legs,
Yeah.
that you feed yourself, that you can go to the bathroom on your own, that, like all of these things that we take for granted every single day.
Yeah.
And if that's the only thing that you can be grateful for, have gratitude for that you can take care of your physical being. So
And grateful for every breath that we take. That's kind of hard to accept that, because when you take a deep breath and it goes down and does what it's supposed to do, if if we can, when things are really hard, if we can at least hang on to the fact that I'm still breathing, so there must be something here that I can still do. So what is it? And sometimes you can just scream it out. There is place for being so broken that you stand out and you stand and you scream and you yell like a coyote. Those things are all right. The universe understands that. In our hearts, we all kind of understand that at some level. That there have been times when you just had to, you know, let let that energy go into the universe, because it's tearing you apart.
So somebody just commented, remembering that this morning when we woke up breathing, there is more right with us than wrong. And giving gratitude and thanks, just being in this moment right now.
Right.
Yeah.
I've had people ask me questions like, what is there some moment in your life that is just more important than any other moment? And my answer to that is yes, right now.
Beautiful.
The moment, being able to live in the moment, and in the, accepting just whatever is, and realizing that that's what you're here to live through, not just to hiccup and say, oh, well, that's not important.
Right.
Maybe it's not important. Maybe living through it is realizing that that particular issue is not that important.
Somebody wants to know, what's your favorite Thanksgiving dish, and do you enjoy cooking?
I used to when I had the family, but I haven't made a turkey for, well, 30 years, I guess. But I love the whole thing. I particularly like pumpkin pie. My daughter makes really good pumpkin pies.
Yum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it all. Personally, I'm just seeing if anybody else has chimed in. Okay. Nope, that's
Well, another thing, Katie, that is easy to do when we're in a dark place is to light a candle. And it just is easy to do, and it says something to our soul that light is what we're looking for, and we can light a candle.
I light candles every morning.
Yeah,
I sit and I journal and meditate and pray and to a candle lit or several
right.
candles lit. Um, so I wanted to share with you. I know we were talking about what's been going on for me, but last week when it seemed like everything was sort of falling apart with where I'm going to be working and how that's all going to be going, it was interesting because what it felt like and what I was sharing with somebody was it felt like I had jumped out of an airplane and I wasn't able to pull the chute yet. So I was in a free fall. And while that could seem scary, it didn't seem scary, but it certainly was groundless. It was certainly uncomfortable. It was, it was uncomfortable. Um, but I just kept having, it was like I just somewhere in the back of my brain was have faith, have hope. Something's gonna manifest, and it did, or femifest into manifest. But it is interesting. I think in our culture, it's just we're not taught to stay in the uncomfort. We're we're so looking to get out of feeling uncomfortable. And that, I think, speaks to your point of living through rather than pushing it away and just like, oh, yeah, that's not a big deal. Like, no, actually live through that moment that feels scary or terrifying or uncomfortable or groundless or whatever it is.
Well, it's sort of like uh, exercising. If you exercise and it starts hurting and you stop, sometimes that's not a good thing. Sometimes it is. So you have to pay attention to what your body is telling you. And
Right,
if it's saying, no, keep going, you work through that and live through it and be on the other side of that. It may not stop hurting now. You may have to help something, rub something in, you may need a full body massage, who knows?
right,
But the point being, your focus is on getting through this whole process in a way that allows your body, mind, and spirit to understand something, some sometimes big things, sometimes little things, sometimes just a glimmer, sometimes a huge
right,
light. And you don't know as long as you keep going.
right. Yeah, life is interesting that
You,
way.
I have to tell you this story because it's one that uh, is amazing.
We love
It happened in my life. My dad and was we were out and camped along the Ganges, and there was an alligator that kept coming up and attacking the people and killing the people. It had become a very great menace to that whole area. And so they asked my dad to please come and kill this alligator because he had the gun and had the access to that. So he and Harry Dean, our friend, went and they found the alligator, saw the alligator, shot the alligator, killed the alligator, and they were when they opened the belly of the alligator, they found a whole lot of women's jewelry. So they
Wow.
knew they had found the right alligator. But along with the jewelry, there was a turtle, and its shell was completely white. And so that turtle had been in that alligator's stomach long enough that the it was just white.
Right.
They had no color at all. So they just put the turtle down. They thought it was dead, and they put it down and went on with the work that they were doing. And all of a sudden, they looked around, and that turtle was walking away off into the woods. Now, that
How is it
is
possible?
so amazing. How had that turtle shut itself off all the time, not to have any of the stomach acids
Right.
penetrate and kill it? So when I was having a trouble or stopping, not wanting to go on doing something, my dad would say to me, "Are you a turtle?" You know, and all of a sudden I'd think, that's something to think about.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that doesn't seem possible.
No, but those are the kind of impossible things that happen in life when you're sometimes when you're not looking for them. Like they were just helping with the what was going on,
Right.
and here out comes this little turtle.
Wow. Wow. And so so how old were you then?
Oh, I was about 8.
Was that about the same time when your dad had to kill was it a tiger? What is it that's on your wall?
Yeah, yeah. It was during those years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. No, these are things that you do the work that you need to do, and it's not if it's done with love and caring, you decide what it is that needs your attention and your love and caring the most, and that's what you do.
It's so interesting to me that how many years did you live in India? Like from birth until what age?
From birth until I was 10, and then my parents came to the States for during the Depression, and then we went back out. So until I was 15. And so, my early childhood, and then I had 2 years in Kansas, and then we went back out and we stayed there until I was ready to start college, and I came back to the States to start college.
Um, and but your parents stayed there, didn't they?
Oh, they stayed there. They retired, I think, about 5 times. I don't know. It seemed like they retired 4 or 5 times. They, their hearts were there with the people,
Yeah.
and they had started a boarding school for the children of leper parents, because they are the lepers are, and particularly at that time too, were the lowest of the low. And you just you couldn't touch a leper. You wouldn't want their shadow to fall over your foot or anything like that. So it was that kind of ostracism, so that if their children grew up with them, they would be lepers. So my parents made it possible for these children to have a school where they could live. In fact, the parents would bring children to the school and ask them to take the child, because they wanted their children to have a life.
Wow. So they must have like that must have started early for a child,
Oh,
right? Like
oh yeah. They well, my Aunt Bell started with Dorcas, who was the baby that was thrown away,
right.
and um and then other children started coming, and then they were able to start the school for the leper
Got
children.
wow. Wow. So they lived there until they were how old?
90s, late 90s,
Ah,
94, 5. Yeah, they would go right back out. They'd
well,
come back and then raise funds to to be able to go back out. And my brother Gordon and his wife took over after my parents were retired. We laugh when we talk about their retirement because it was what they did there in India. They brought the stories and the hope back here to the States and shared that with sort of people here who then were able to support what they were doing out there.
Yeah.
It was a give and take, a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Wow. So they were there until their 90s.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So did you go back a lot
No,
when they were?
no. I went back several times, but no, I was busy here.
Yeah, you were busy with.
And yeah, but my mother developed severe osteoporosis, and then they couldn't do that anymore.
So somebody did ask if longevity runs in your family.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
it does. I
Yeah.
I
Well,
I
longevity.
giggle a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, I love hearing the stories of India. So why I was asking you how old you were, it just, the imprint is so strong, and your memories and your ability to retell your childhood stories is just so vivid. It's really remarkable, and it's so fun to listen to you tell those stories.
Well, for me, memory lane is a very alive process. My family, my sister who died, my daughter who died, they're still alive in my life
Mm,
because I can look at memory lane if I can't sleep at night, I choose to not worry about that because I if I then I can't sleep. But if I can
right.
find something that is on memory lane and kind of relive what we did and worked with, it's a living thing, and the person is alive in my mind and heart.
Yeah. It's so lovely. Somebody's commenting, your beautiful faith blazes brightly.
Oh,
And
thank you, thank you. There's so much to be grateful for.
yes, there is. And so, what are you doing for the actual
Well,
Thanksgiving?
my daughter and her husband will have the family come I about noon, I guess, and there'll be probably 30 of us or something like that, and we'll eat. They we usually have to have or we eat in the yard, but it's going to be too hot tomorrow,
Wow.
so we'll eat indoors and you know we'll greet our family and
That's
and have a
that's so great.
yeah.
That's so your niece Vicky is saying it's always nice listening to Dr. Gladys. She's got so much interesting things
uh,
to share. And then somebody's commenting, she shines a huge
oh,
light like an angel.
oh, thank you, you're carrying it on too, Vicky.
Yes, she says Dr. Gladys talks from knowledge, so much knowledge. Yeah, so great. Well, I think with that, I need to get ready for my afternoon. So,
Blessed Thanksgiving to everybody.
yes, regardless if you live in the United States and celebrate, it's just another opportunity to have have gratitude.
Live and share.
Um,
Yeah.
asking Too Hot, where is she located, what country and or island? She's in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yeah.
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 It's the desert. It's the Arizona desert.
Yes, and it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Well, I just am sending you so much love, and
Right,
I
right
know,
back at you.
yeah.
Right back at you.
Okay. Please give Helene a hug from me.
I will.
And yeah, just so good.
And you know, Katie, it's so lovely that we knew you when you were a child, and
Yeah,
you and your sister were up and down that street and
yep,
into our home and back.
yep.
You know, life goes on.
Yes, it does. I'm just going to say one more thing because somebody's saying, Dr. Gladys, keep shining your light upon humanity and Earth. We need more people like you in this world at this time, sending you all healing thoughts, prayers, love, and light. Amen.
Thank you. Right back at you.
Yes, thank you for that. That's a beautiful closing sentiment.
Right.
So have a fabulous day. Enjoy your Thanksgiving with your 30 family,
Yes.
30 of your family. And we will see everybody next week.
All right.
All right. Love you so much.
Love you too. Love you all.
Bye. Bye, John.
Bye.
Thanks for always getting this together and getting Dr. Gladys on.
Oh, you're welcome.
And thanks for finding me when I've invited to be on your video.
You once were lost, but now you're found.
Yes. Thank the good Lord.
Okay.
All right, you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now, what time is it?
Time to get ready to go see your eye doctor. But I'm going to get you a little drink. Hold on.
I'll go to the bathroom.